This is Not for the Average with Trent Leishon.
Marston, welcome to Not for the Average.
Thank you, Trent. I am excited to be here.
I'm pumped. Let's get straight into it. Okay, let's talk about Costa Rica. Let's get straight into that story. Can you take us back in time to that experience, please?
Definitely. So, and there's a multifaceted, multi-layered experience, but I actually went to Costa Rica seemingly by accident. I was planning to go to Costa Rica a little bit before when I actually went. And I had been in Brazil before, and I ended up getting rerouted to Peru in between Brazil and Costa Rica. Now, I didn't have plans when I got to Costa Rica. I was planning to just end my travels there before going to a wedding in Mexico at the end of the year. So I just kind of had these things planned out. When I went to Peru, though, when I was rerouted there for a week, that is when I got the download or the message, the insight that I was meant to do plant medicine when I got to Costa Rica. And I had been getting these insights for about a year before, like just the shamanic path. You're here to walk the shamanic path. It was very new to me. I didn't know what this meant. I actually really resisted it at first because I had my own preconceived notions of what it meant to be a shaman. And I was like, no. And I had a lot to learn. So when I got to Costa Rica, I actually ended up finding the right shamans and the right retreat center to have my first shamanic master plant diet. And it was on this experience that, and I certainly could have never expected this to happen, but I experienced a DNA activation, otherwise known as a Kundalini activation. I did not know that that's what happened at the time. It was after the fact where I realized, oh my God, this is what happened. But that actually served as the doorway, the portal way to then experiencing physical extraterrestrial contact with my soul group, my extraterrestrial soul family. And I experienced a physical plasma ship in the sky. And then over the course of the next few weeks, I experienced actual other physical ships in the sky, sightings of those as well. And I got to learn in this experience through consciousness interface, which we can get more into, more about the journey of my soul and my soul's incarnational path through other lifetimes, through other star systems, through other galaxies. And it's here that I learned more about myself as well as my future and the future of humanity and our consciousness potential. So, like I said, very multifaceted, and we'll pause there.
I want to know about this ship. Tell me about this physical ship. Like when you say physical ship, what is that?
So, it's a ship. It's a ship. It looked like, it was at night, and I was with another woman on my retreat, and she and I were awake. She was actually getting ready to go to bed for the night. And all of a sudden, this is how it all started. We were outside and we just started seeing all these like blinking lights in the jungle below us. So our view was just jungle, mountains, open sky. We're in the Nicoya Peninsula of Costa Rica, right? So it's a blue zone. There's nothing, going on there. It's amazing. It's beautiful. And we saw all these twinkling lights in the jungle, and we were like, "Oh my God, there's a party. Like what is this?" We couldn't identify what this was, and we both started feeling like our hearts started racing a little bit, and not in a scary way, but just like our inner child respectively started coming out. And we were like, let's go inside and let's go hydrate for this. So we got some coconut water, we got some bananas. We were going to go back outside and just see what ended up happening. And when we went inside and turned on the lights immediately started flickering on and off. And we both were like, something's happening. So we go back outside, and it was shortly after that all of a sudden over the mountains, there was this green glow that just emerged from the top of the mountains. And it was this beautiful, beautiful, translucent, bioluminescent, almost turquoise ship, and it looked almost like a manta ray, or I equated it to like the manta ray from Moana. And it just started gliding over the mountains and down through the jungle. And the only thing I could say, I was in shock. I was like, "Oh my god!" Like my voice sounded like that. My friend who was with me was witnessing this, and she was speechless. And I all I could say was, "I think this is my family." And I like lost my ability to speak after that. I received a direct communication that just said, "Sit down." And I really didn't have a choice. Like I felt this electrical energy running through my body. My eyes started shutting. And it was then that I locked into the frequency of that ship, because it was a plasma ship, meaning it's conscious. And my consciousness was a frequency or a DNA match to the frequency of the ship, meaning we could link our consciousness together through quantum entanglement. And I was able to essentially see everything that I needed to see. I saw as if I was the ship. It was like I had access to all of these memories of my soul. I was shown the star that I originated from, and I was shown where it is in the sky. And when I say originated, I mean that's where I began my soul incarnational journey. We all originate, and this is also what I learned, we all originate from source consciousness as fractals of source, but we choose a universe, a dimension in which to begin our soul incarnational journey. And within that dimensional universe, we select a galaxy, a star system, a planetary matrix, and that's where we grow up essentially. And so I was shown where I grew up. And weeks later, I downloaded an astronomy app, and I was with my friend, and she was like, "You should just see what," like I was like, "Oh, that's Vega. That's where I was shown. That's Vega. That's where I'm from." So she looked it up on the astronomy app, and she goes, "Oh my god, that is Vega." And so I learned all of this information about my soul. But yes, so that was the ship. It was a plasma ship.
Holy moly. This is pretty
Yeah.
mind-bending. That's outrageous. I love it. Absolutely love it. Uh,
Outrageous. It was simultaneously the best and hardest experience of my entire life, because I could not. It was like experiencing a new taste, a new flavor, a new color, a new sound, all at the same time. And it was like sensing home, like a big part of me that I didn't know I had.
mm, mm.
And it was hard because I couldn't integrate it afterward. I was like,
It
how am I going to find the words? First of all, how am I going to tell people? How am I even going to sit with this? Let alone how am I going to tell people about this?
just to clarify,
And
it
it was
wasn't a
really
psychedelic
difficult.
experience, was it? It wasn't, it was after the psychedelic experience. It
It was
wasn't during.
after. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's like a mind. So you've cooked, the mind has just gone to a completely new level of awareness.
And
Um,
that's what happened from the DNA activation. I was told, your consciousness is now in a higher frequency. And because of that, you're able to now have this experience. So it was because of the psychedelic experience I did have that was able to unlock this dormant,
mm,
latent energy that needed to activate my pineal gland. And
gotcha.
because of that, I could then have these experiences.
Oh, okay. That's full on. That's
Hmm.
outrageous. You were well on your journey by then, though, Marston. So let's take it back. Let's pause there and come back a little bit. Successful career in finance. Now, I found you on Gaia, just
Hmm.
randomly on Gaia. I love the content on Gaia, and I found
Thank
one
you.
video. I was like, "Oh, okay, interesting." Watched all your videos. I devoured your book, Trustful, as well. The story is so mind bending and outrageous, but oddly enough, I can relate to it in my own way, in different ways.
Hmm.
Not as nowhere near as wild as yours, Marston, but I can certainly relate to it. Particularly the identity, the change, complete change of career and direction. I'd
Hmm.
like to go back a little bit there, if we can, to
Yeah.
your career and where you came from. I know you were a very successful athlete growing up as well. So for you to be here now, it's quite a journey. So take us back to that transition point.
Yeah. I mean, which one? It's been, one continuous transition point, I would say. But um really the catalyst for me, well, I guess I'll start a little bit even before the catalyst. I started exploring and getting curious about our inner power, manifestation, all like the kind of like, what do you call it? Like gateway drugs, if you will, into spirituality, like the manifestation, breath work, exploring what is consciousness, what are spirit guides. This was all very new to me. And this was around 2021 when I moved to Denver for a promotion at work that allowed me to become vice president at one of the world's largest and leading asset managers. I was 27. And I just started to explore. I was like, there's got to be something, there's something else. There's something more that I feel guided toward. And I couldn't put my finger on it. And I didn't know what it was. But there was like a deeper part of me that was wanting to take the driver's seat. And so it was sort of a slow-ish, although in the grand scheme of things, it all happened very fast, transition. Because then once I was in Denver, I had just gotten this role. I was really happy. I loved it there. And then I got like expedited to an even higher promotion very quickly. And it was kind of unheard of at the company to be promoted that quickly, especially someone who just joined the company, which I did. And this job took me to Milwaukee, Wisconsin to cover the Wisconsin market, essentially, for all financial advisors. And I still touched on a national basis as well, but I was in charge of the Wisconsin market and driving revenue for the firm there. Um, so when I got there, I met who I thought was the love of my life. And we entered this whirlwind, relationship, and we were making future plans together. All the while, I'm still really kind of diving a little bit more into the world of spirituality and how to work with my own energy, and I was getting really curious about all of that. Well, then it wasn't even a few months into this relationship that my partner passed away very suddenly and unexpectedly, and that broke open a whole world of healing within me and navigating grief and all of these nuanced complexities that came with his death. And I I had no choice but to go into the darkest parts of myself
Mm.
and really, really get honest with everything. Why, who am I? And what is this all happening for? Am I being punished by the universe? Did I do something wrong? So I started asking these questions, and then I quickly realized, like, man, he was in the same career as me, same market, same clients, competitor firm. So this impacted everything. It wasn't just personal, and then, it was professional too.
Marston,
And
are you comfortable touching on how that happened? Because
what's
I
that?
read about it in the book, how he passed away.
He passed away of a heart attack while we were together, which was really, really difficult for me to witness. And I actually had an out of body experience when this happened. So I saw myself on the ceiling in the room that we were in, giving him CPR. And I just have this memory of, you know, I was on the phone with 911, and 911 was coaching me through how to give him CPR. And he was this, 6'3", very athletic, fit man who was essentially dead weight. And I mean, literally at that point. And here I was trying to figure out how to move him around and how to give him CPR. And I was so dissociated. I mean, I had this vantage point of being on the ceiling. And I even have this memory of sensing his soul leaving his body. And it felt like our souls almost merged. That's the best way I can describe this. So it almost felt like a piece of me left with him. And yes, that's how it happened.
Well, so that's the witnessing, and you've had a near death experience yourself, and that's, for all accounts, life changing in a lot of ways.
Oh my
So,
god, it's like this death was catalyzing and life-changing in every sense of the word. It was, and that's what really made me think about, like, wow, it's hitting me at all angles. The universe does not want me to stay where I am. Like, this is not one of those, not that any death is uneventful by any means, but this is a death that's supposed to change me from the inside out. And that was made very, very clear to me, which is what led to me seeking reconciliation and confirmation through mediums and psychics. I was trying to get answers and reconcile across the veil and get closure in whatever way I could from him. And that's where I started learning that, they all said the same thing. And they were like, you're not meant to be in your career that much longer. You're meant to be helping people in a much bigger way. And your relationship with him is, or your connection with him is what's going to be what gives you the confidence to move forward onto this new path. And so that's really, oh, and they were like, you also are a medium. You have these abilities too. And so I started exploring more deeply into that. And I swear I mean, everything started cracking open for me shortly after that. And I started having experience. I mean, if you read my book, you read some examples, but I had some pretty undeniable examples of how mediumship sort of started manifesting even with clients. And then I started getting
Mm.
colleagues and clients who would start coming to me in confidence and asking to have conversations about life and death and these sort of taboo topics. And so I started realizing, man, these are the conversations I want to be having.
Yes,
And so
yes.
I felt like I was living a double life, because then I would go into a client meeting and talk about the fixed income market. And I was like, this isn't lining up anymore.
Yeah, yeah. So this has been a shift, some sort of rewiring, and your
Yeah.
appetite changes, doesn't it? Your priorities change, and
Yeah.
I'm fascinated by. I can relate to that. I've done the business stuff very well for a long time, but the appetite has shifted, like to things that, like you're talking about, manifestation, synchronicities. Being able to tap into all these things that don't seemingly make sense, but there's this
Right.
pull, and that's sort of the I felt reading your book, Trustful, that there is a trusting in the process, but it's in a way, you think about awakening, becoming enlightened is actually terrifying for a lot of people. It's a scary process and it's a painful process. And it can be quite isolating. So and I gather that from reading the book, that sort of dark night of the soul process is very, very uncomfortable. It's excruciating for a lot of people.
It's the worst. I mean, it's like, and it catches you when you're not expecting it. And I don't say this to scare people from venturing into the unknown. Quite the opposite, because in that process is how you alchemize your pain into power. It's how the pearl emerges. It's how a diamond is formed. I mean, you don't get you don't get to new horizons unless you're willing to set sail into stormy seas. And I don't mean to just keep talking in metaphors, but I feel like that's really the only way to properly convey this, because um, you have to be when this happens, you have a choice. I had a choice, and it looks different for everyone, but my choice was grieve and go back to what go back to
Mm.
this career path, make your career. I had a very lucrative, very cushy career, and I had a lot of friends, and it was safe and known, and I could have chosen to do that. But because of the circumstances, it was like the universe made it so excruciatingly painful to
Yes,
stay on
yes.
that path that I really had no choice. And frankly, my soul was calling me. Like, it was a call now that it was so loud I couldn't ignore it. I had
Mm.
no choice. And the funny thing is that I always say I feel like spirit has been baiting me this whole time, kind of like a treat motivated dog. It's like you don't know what comes next, but it's like they're dangling the carrot and they're like, "All right, like make this choice, come over here, and you're not going to see what's happening over here." And then, you jump into the deep end and then you have no choice but to learn how to swim. And so it's like I've just been exiting my comfort zone time and time again in this whole process, but it's how you and I are having this conversation right now.
We talked about this in a private conversation about everything being so frustratingly subtle.
Yes.
Um, you're looking for signs. It's like give me more, but it's so subtle. Like it can be very frustrating when you know that there's I think everyone has a calling. There's something deep inside of us that we often fight, and that's where I know you talked a lot about. You talked about authenticity in your book and how important it
Hmm.
is to be embodying your authentic frequency, your most authentic self. That can
Yeah.
be terrifying for a lot of people because the calling is so removed from what they've been conditioned to believe, think, do, expect social expectations, who they are.
Yeah.
The identity is wrapped up in ego and all of these things. But the calling's way over here. And there's no bridge. There is no
You have to
bridge.
make it.
Yes, you have to make it. And you're building that bridge. That's in your next book, I believe. Um,
Yes.
Become the bridge
Hmm.
is
Yeah.
delving into that. There is a shift, I believe, in our reality in terms of what we believe. There's so much change. There's so much chaos. What's
Hmm.
happening? I'd love to delve into, what is reality? That's another question. Like, what is this thing we're in and we're experiencing? But do you feel there's a shift going on collectively where people are here, more people are hearing the call?
Oh my God. Undeniably, yes. I mean, undoubtedly. This is a major time in human history right now because we are on the precipice of the next stage in human consciousness evolution. And this is a new wave of consciousness that is sweeping the planet right now. Um, and you make a really good point about how there's a lot of fear out there about awakening, about I call it a remembrance of really the truth. It's who we are. And there's just a lot of fear in general because there are so many controlled narratives surrounding what this means and why we need to be kept in fear to stay in what is known, to stay in what feels safe. But really it's all an illusion anyway. And
Mm,
so when I think about what's happening, I think about the importance of, and I've had to walk this and embody this, but the importance of integration in these experiences. I mean, it's one thing to learn new information. It's one thing to have all these experiences. It's a completely separate thing to integrate it into your daily experience, to embody it, because we're meant to be in these human bodies, and we're not meant to just be floating up here and be all spiritual and to each their own, right? Everyone is on their own. And
nice.
if we're not regulated, our nervous systems, then we can't trust ourselves fully. We're always going to be looking outside of ourselves for
Mm,
validation, for information, for someone else to tell us what to do. And really, I mean, I view this as the return to truth. It's the return to us, the return to our souls, to our hearts. And so this has been a huge process for me of learning what it means to fully trust myself. As my consciousness expands, I have to be willing to reevaluate all of my beliefs time and time again. I have to be willing to retreat and to contract.
mhm.
This is an ongoing process. It's not like you reach this point and that's it. You're done. Congratulations. It's quite the opposite. It's you go even deeper. You discover more layers, and it actually becomes more of a responsibility because with more awareness and more information, you're now accountable for what you do with that. You can't be ignorant anymore. Or if you are, it's not for lack of awareness, it's a choice. And that's okay. That's, again, to each their own. But I think a lot of people will have a lot of trouble digesting all of this because there is more information coming out now than ever before, and the truth is becoming more and more uh, real and undeniable. And for people who are so attached to the rigidity of their beliefs that have constructed the reality they've created for themselves, they're going to have a really hard time letting go of that. And I think it really comes down to fear. It's fear of the
Mhm.
unknown.
Because the lies are easy to understand. In a way,
Yeah.
the truth The more I learn, Marston, the stranger things seem to be. Like the
I
more
know.
outrageous things are. So for people to
Hmm.
get their head around some of this stuff, it's fiction. It feels
It
like
it is.
fiction.
Yeah, like the truth really is stranger than fiction.
Yeah, it is.
It's
It is.
and for people to, I mean, it's so much easier for people to just be like, nope, that is science fiction. That is not true. It's easier to do that.
Yeah. I did hear in one of your previous interviews on Gaia a reference to when you're communicating. Want to dig into this a little bit. So how do you communicate with your
Hmm.
your soul, your guides, almost like a telepathic tuning in? And I want to dig into what they've shared with you about religion or modern organized religion.
Okay, so I communicate with them through what I would call consciousness interface or telepathy. It's not, they want me to trust myself. Like, so really it's more so an inherent line of communication that we have because we're quantum entangled. So our consciousness it's entangled through the same frequency. So I'm always in communication with them. We all are. I mean, but it's just a matter of tuning into that, kind of like a walkie-talkie
Mhm.
or radio, right? Finding the right frequency.
This is
Some
interesting. Can I touch on that, Marston, quickly?
Mhm.
Because for my own benefit,
Yeah.
you are hearing your own voice constantly. And I've struggled sometimes to understand what voice I'm listening to. I want to tune into a higher voice. I want to trust your intuition. But it's finding that, like that voice, does it sound the same, or is it just is it that telepathic? Like I don't know whether I've experienced telepathy or not, but I
Yeah.
seem to hear the same voice when I hear my
So
thoughts.
it a really good question. The way that I put this, and in my shamanic experiences, the telepathy was like not even a question. Like I know the voice, I know the personalities, the voices, the bodies of the people I was talking to, the beings who are people that I was talking to. On a daily basis, it's quieter for me. Sometimes it'll come through very clearly, but we're not constantly in telepathic communication because again, they're pretty hands off. They want me doing my thing. They want me trusting myself and my own intuition. So, what I'll say about this is if you're so, and because I struggled with this a lot when I was kind of first starting to discern the difference. If you're in your head and this voice is like loud and urgent and insistent, it's probably not the voice you want to be listening to.
Hmm,
If
okay.
it's embodied, and it's like you have body somatic signals with it. It's a
Mm,
much quieter voice. It might be persistent, but it won't be insistent. That's what I would call the difference. So your intuitive voice, your higher
mm,
voice,
okay.
um, you could call it your guides because it's all in the same team, right? It's not about tuning into something external. It's not about like literally hearing something. It can be, but it's more so about what's my body telling me with this, which
Mm,
is why I want to I will always emphasize and stress the importance of integration and regulation in the nervous system because when
mhm.
we know how to regulate our nervous systems,
Yeah.
we can be still and we can receive
Yes. You're one of the
and
reasons I've
trust it.
given up caffeine.
Amazing.
Yeah, and I gave up alcohol 2 years ago,
Yeah.
and when you were talking about your 8-day fast, well, we wanna talk about
Mm.
that as well, and you said that, your guides told you to stop caffeine. Interestingly,
Yeah.
you still drink. I've noticed, many references to drinking, in the Trust
Hmm.
Fall book, so you still enjoy drink, but you've quit caffeine because that does hijack the nervous system, doesn't it? That does. I found that I the last time I stopped I couldn't even tell you the last time I didn't have a coffee. So since
Hmm.
reading Trust Fall, I said, "Alright, I'm gonna get off the coffee now as well," for that exact reason, just so I can tune my body in more,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
we're talking about.
Well, and I think it's we move in cycles. And I'm not saying that I don't necessarily believe in anything dogmatic per se. like I'm currently in a phase right now, for example, I'm not drinking alcohol right now as I
Okay.
am working on building something bigger, and I just want to keep my vessel, as clear as possible.
Mm.
That's not to say that I won't enjoy a glass of wine if I go to Italy, for example, or
Yeah.
whatever it is, right? So, but it's more so about the intention behind it. And I would say the same with caffeine. It's not that these things are inherently bad or good. It's understanding the effect that they can have on the body and therefore on the nervous system, right? Like you said, and the clarity of it all.
Mm,
Because
mm.
these things can create interference just like food can. Just like what you consume in the media or on social media, that like all of this can interfere with your field. So it's not about necessarily, being perfect or like totally free and clear, because
Yeah.
we're humans. We're here to have this
We're humans.
experience, but
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, so that's but yeah, so in this telepathic experience I had with my guides, um, I was learning. I didn't understand at the time that's when they were like, "You're here to walk. You're going to be walking the shamanic path. It's a deep part of your mission." Not necessarily in the way you would think. It's more so about learning to traverse and master these realms. I learned that I'm a medium. I learned that a lot of this contact is this is a part of it, is knowing how to traverse these realms responsibly. And so it was interesting because when I had my first master plant diet in the fall, I've had two at this point. The diet includes no alcohol, no caffeine, very strict, like it's really no stimulation. So no sugar, no salt, very bland foods, keeping the vessel clear for the plants to work through you. And so it was interesting because in the book that you're mentioning, the 8-day fast, they really were putting me on a shamanic diet. Although there was no food in that, but they were kind of getting me introduced to that, which I thought was interesting.
I love the story in Trust Fall when I think you were getting ready for a trip and you waited most of the day
Yes.
and you were reading number plates, looking for signs. I thought
Yes.
it's like
Yes. Yes.
devastating that you were ready to go.
Devastating.
Yeah, and then they said that was part of the process. For those that
Yes.
haven't read the book, you must read it. I don't want to go too far into it, but great,
Thank
brilliant read,
thank you.
mind-bending read, Trust Fall. I'll put a link in the show notes as well for how to get more information
Thank you.
on that. But that comes back to the trust. Everything's so subtle, and you have to trust. But what you're talking about with the body is really discipline. It's tuning the vessel,
Hmm.
tuning this
Yeah.
physical meat vehicle, so
Yep.
it can start to tune in to things that
Hmm.
one of the big missions that I'm on is to, and this part of the podcast is conversations on the edge of human potential. Because
Mm.
I know this, we have so much more potential that we've lost. It's like a technology. Our body's like an operating system. It's running
Yes.
in such old operating system. It's like a 1980 Nokia 8110 or something compared to a smartphone. So these things are fascinating to me. I know they're real. I just don't understand them. So that's why I'm fascinated to talk to people like yourself to try and understand what the hell's going
Yeah.
on. How do we tap into more? Because we know
Yeah.
telepathy is real. Most people
It's
would be,
our fundamental nature, and I believe the autism community is really leading the way with this. The not specifically nonverbals, the nonverbal autists who are pioneering the road ahead to telepathy, to the next level of human consciousness expansion. And I've been working with several neuroscientists and psychologists, behind the scenes to really talk about how we're going to build this into the infrastructure that will house the new paradigm, the new socioeconomic paradigm, the new social architecture, if you will. Um, how are we going to build this into our systems, taking into account that human consciousness is reaching a new level, which means we have to take into account, what does the future of medical technology look like? What does psychology look like, right? Because we're changing the story in real time. So I love that you brought that up, because telepathy at its core is really, it's just who we are. We all have this ability. It's just a matter of how tuned in we are to it.
Mm.
We've never been taught to use it, but the best
Yeah.
way I can put it is, you can catch the imprint of it. If you walk up to, let's say you walk up to a group of people, and you can tell that the energy shifts when you walk up, or they change conversation. Something doesn't match, right? We've all had this experience in some way or another. And you don't, no one names it. It's nothing that's said out loud, but you can just tell that they were talking about you, or that like they
Mhm.
shifted the conversation when you walked up. You're picking up the imprint of what's not being communicated verbally.
Yeah.
That's like the best way I can put it.
Yes.
Um,
Tuning into the
right? Because
information field
yeah, and you can pick
of
up
that
people's
vibration.
thoughts too.
Yes.
You
Yes.
can pick up people's thoughts.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That the tiny human brain that we have, which we're only using a small percentage of, is very limited. Our
Mhm.
language is limited. And you know, when you go into, like, I've had various plant medicine experiences, there is no
Mhm.
language.
No.
You go on a DMT journey and you come back, you don't
Yes.
want to speak. Personally, didn't want to speak for about an hour. I'm like, I don't want to speak anymore. To me, it was just so
Mm-mm.
limiting because it's a mind bending experience. So that's very exciting if humanity is shifting, and I think it is.
Yeah.
Um, it's shifting. People are becoming
Well,
more educated, but more health conscious. Less people are drinking. Nightclubs are being replaced for run clubs. All this sort of shift is happening in the younger generations are realizing that, hey,
yeah.
the body's really important. Mind, body, spirit.
Yeah,
Um,
health. Mhm.
the stuff that we're tapping into here is next level. I
Yeah.
want to keep us on track here because it's very easy for me to go down rabbit hole. Too easy, actually, for me to go down rabbit holes.
Me too.
Um, that's your guides shared something about religion,
Mhm.
and religion is a very polarizing subject. I'm open to all forms of spirituality and belief systems, but you've been getting these, I guess, downloads from your guides. What do they have to say about organized religion?
Well, I want to preface by saying it's not necessarily from my guides,
Oh, it's
although
not.
they are on the same page as this. It's just from source. It's
Okay,
just
okay.
straight connection.
Yeah.
It's just a knowing, and it's really that religion is not. We're not meant to have religion the way that we know it, in terms of worshiping a supreme being or a god, or goddesses or gods or people figures, because what this does is it places people on a pedestal. And we've seen this inherent in our entire cultural system. It's very hierarchical, right? We've put celebrities on pedestals, we've put gurus on pedestals. And essentially, what it does is it keeps you looking outside of yourself
Mhm.
for answers, rather than connecting into the one true source, which is inherent in every single one of us. And I think personally, now, there's a lot of history with how religion came to be on our planet, and that's not necessarily a conversation I'm up for right now. But it has to do with keeping humans under control. And I'm not saying that religion, everything to do with religion is bad. Because I believe that if it keeps you trusting in a higher power, if it keeps you trusting in yourself and in the universe and in the cosmic order of everything, the natural order, then I think that's a lovely notion, because people need hope and people need to feel connection.
Also can act as a placebo. If
Mm,
you
mhm.
believe it, you will move towards creating it.
Yeah, that's
So if
exactly
it's
it.
positive, it's good. Yeah, it's when it's
Yes.
negative, religion is negative, then that's not so good.
Well, and when it's an organized narrative,
Mm,
surrounding, this is bad, this is good, this is what happens after you die if you don't live this way. That's where we get into trouble, because then that keeps people rooted in fear. It keeps people turning outside of themselves to a savior, so that they actually never make any changes, because they can put it all on one man to do it for them.
yeah.
And that keeps people stuck, right? We're
Mm,
meant to be creating our future. There is, and this was one of the profound messages that came through in the contact experience I did have, was We are meant to be creating heaven on earth. It's not someone, no one's going to do it for us. No one's going to save us. We have to save ourselves. We have to find, if you resonate with Jesus, if you resonate with Buddha, you have to find that frequency within you, and you become that because you are that. They're not separate from
Mm.
you. They're not better than you. And so that was the main message that was coming
Yes.
through.
Yes. Those ascended masters, Buddha, Lao Tzu, uh,
Mm-hmm.
Yeshua. It's a consciousness, isn't it? Like it's a level of awareness. It's a
Yes.
frequency more than it is an
It's
actual identity of a person.
it's a representation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and of a potential. And I think that's the main thing here is no one's better than anyone. You know, we're all at different points on our incarnational journey. Some are further along than others, but the way I look at it is, if you're a master's student, do you look at a high school student as being less than you? Or if you're a high school student, do you look at a master's student as being better than you? No, they're just further ahead, or they're not, or this is where they are in their journey, right? We all have the same potential. We're just at different places of it. And so to look at these figures and these people as gods to worship and as being better, you're placing all of your power outside of yourself. And
Mm.
that's the problem, because that has been indoctrinated into our society for a very long time now, and that's how we got to where we are now. So fearful, not taking action. We're just constantly looking outside of ourselves for the answers, for someone else to do it for us.
The origins of that. Let's talk about the Anunnaki. How do we go right back? Things we're talking about are very surface level. The
Hmm.
nature of reality, where we're from, why we're here. To me, there's so many unanswered questions. And then when you start digging into try to find information, it gets very cryptic. These concepts that are so fictional, they see it seems like madness. This couldn't possibly be true.
Hmm.
But what? So can we take it back a little bit? Like, because I know that you have some links back to Anunnaki
Hmm.
without blowing the heads off most of the listeners.
Yes, but I will preface just by saying I do not know. I do not have all of the information.
Sure.
I have what I experienced. I have what I have come to know and believe to be true. Um, and
Yeah. Gotcha.
so, I mean, the Anunnaki, it's a whole story about. I mean, I'm just trying to figure out like where to start with this, but essentially, the religion, as it relates to religion was formed really by one faction of the Anunnaki. And that's the thing that I really want to hammer here is people group the Anunnaki all into one faction. And that's not true. That's not the case. And the reason is I had my physical extraterrestrial contact experience. I learned about my soul journey. I learned that I have ties to the Anunnaki, specifically one faction of it. One, if you want to call it lineage, sure, but one side, and that's Ia's side, who is known here as Enki. And Ia had a half brother named Enlil, known on Earth as Enlil. Enlil was the one who started religion. It was really his faction, because they wanted they wanted humans under control. They wanted to keep humans dumb and dense and controllable.
Slaves.
Yeah, exactly. So he was the one that unfortunately a lot of religion has worshipped, as the god, the punishing god, and not the true source god, who is not a being. It's source. It's everything. It's the all that is. But the Anunnaki had origins here on our planet a very long time ago, and were involved in creating the first human hybrids. Not the first genetic mutations on our planet. There were other ET races who had come here to visit well before then, who had tampered with human genetics because that's just everyone's exploratory nature in the universe is to experiment, right? And so yeah, I'm keeping it high level here, but the Anunnaki had there were two factions mainly, and they had very opposing views on what to do with this planet, what to do with humanity, how to handle it. And unfortunately, Enlil and his faction won out. And there's a whole lot more to all of this, but
Yeah.
that's how we got to where we are today.
Gotcha. That systems are still in place today. Like that feels like
Yeah.
um, in my upcoming book, I talk about the slave code, and a lot of the way that modern humans live feels very much like slavery. In a free
Yes.
will, we're choosing it.
Yeah.
So obviously free will is important, but in this realm, but people trade their whole lives for a mortgage. They get up every day. I got on the train this morning to come into the podcast studio, and it was morbid. It looked
Mm-hmm.
the only thing missing was the people's handcuffed, shuffling onto the train. Like I say that with love, but
I
it
know.
wasn't a lot of joy on that train this morning, and it was packed. People just in this rhythm, and not even questioning it. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that is
I know.
where you have to be very brave to rattle the cage, and more people are doing that. Amazing,
Mm-hmm.
brave people like yourself sharing your story. But it does feel like that control grid, the matrix system that we're in, we're not meant to get out of this place. We're not
Yeah.
really meant to work it out. It's almost like the
Right.
control grid's conscious and it's a couple of steps ahead of us. It knows it's designed to keep us in fear.
It
Um,
is to keep us stuck.
yeah.
Yeah. It is an enslavement. And that's why right now that's why starseeds are even incarnated here in the first place. It's to help liberate humanity. It's the final liberation of humanity of Earth out of the control matrix, the enslavement matrix.
Who are the star
And
seeds?
well, starseeds are, I mean, we're from all around the universe and beyond, other universes too. There are tons of different extraterrestrial races who are involved, and civilizations who are involved in the Starseed program and who came here to help. It is part of a bigger initiative here to really save, to not only save our planet, to save the galaxy, to save the universe. I know this sounds very Star Wars, very Star Trek, and it is. What do you think
Mhm.
those movies were based on? I mean, we've had this
Yes.
information, right? And it's been available to us, but this is what is happening right now. I mean, it's a very low percentage of the population who is incarnated here as a starseed soul or an extraterrestrial soul, which, by the way, is not special. You're not special if you're a starseed. We're not any different. We just carry a different frequency because we're from somewhere else. We have different experiences on our soul journey. We're here to activate. Well, not activate. That's not necessarily the right word, but we're here to trigger, to spark, to inspire, in whatever way that happens. And it's to help humanity remember the truth, and so that humanity can step out of the confines of this enslavement system and start building the future that was always meant for humanity to have this entire time. This is what I was shown in my contact experience. I mean, the future of Earth is so bright and so abundant, and it is a full reclamation of our power and our freedom. And we just have to step into it. We just have to be willing to leave behind everything that we thought we know or knew, to embark on the unknown. And there are people that are doing it now. There are people that did it before me. There are people that will do it after, but we're getting there. And ultimately this will allow humanity to step into the next phase of their consciousness evolution, which will allow them to incarnate elsewhere as well. So we will become an interstellar and ultimately intergalactic civilization.
Whew, that's very exciting. It makes sense when
Hmm.
you stare up at the sky at night and you see just the vastness of the universe and the Milky Way.
Yeah.
And I often feel like I've been left here. That sounds really
You're
weird,
like,
but
"Hello?"
like,
Yeah.
yeah, like what, like when are you coming back for me? Like what am I
Yeah.
doing here? Like I've often felt that. It's almost like yeah, it's a strange feeling. And then when I look at the stars, like I'm not a musician, but I sort of imagine when I look at the stars, I'm supposed to be like if I was to look at a sheet music,
Mhm.
I can't read the sheet music, but when I hear amazing music, beautiful music, I get moved.
Yeah.
Feel it. I feel the music. When
Mhm.
I look up at the stars, it's almost like I'm looking at sheet music. I know I should be feeling something, or I know I should understand it, and I don't. It's so confusing. It's so vast. It's so mysterious. Um, yeah, so that's something that's you know obviously personal, but
I
there's
think
more.
that's such a beautiful way to it's a great way to articulate it, because it's we're not necessarily, I don't think, meant to fully understand all of it. We have our perceptions and understandings based on our own experiences, but ultimately, is it ever I have this question of, is it ever actually meant to be fully understood? It's like a mystery that is always unraveling. Just when I think I have it figured out, something happens and makes me question everything. And I think, to your point about the music, I believe that music is the language of the universe. It
Mm,
is like the
mm.
music of the cosmos. Music has been used a lot for me, and the insights, the downloads, the communication that I receive. It's like I mean, it's straight from source.
Yeah.
It's just it's music is a recurring theme. So I love that you said that.
Well, some say God is a mathematician. I say he's a DJ.
I love that.
He's a musician. God
Yeah,
is a musician, definitely, because it is all
for
frequency
sure.
based. Yeah.
For
Um,
sure. And because God is all that is, it's God can be all of it.
can be
A
anything.
DJ, it's yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
You've been on a journey as well, staying in a lot of Airbnbs.
Mm,
And when you went through your dark night of the soul journey, what advice would you have for somebody who is noticing a shift? Their priorities are changing. They're feeling a bit of a call. They're feeling something that maybe they've known deeply for a long time. They just don't know
mhm.
how to take the first step. Because you
Yeah,
had a trigger event. Some people don't have a trigger event. They get stuck.
yeah.
Um, and it's that trigger event that was the catalyst for you to really start
Mhm,
to move.
mhm.
Um, what advice would you have somebody who is feeling something but doesn't know how to take the step?
I would say number 1, trust yourself. And number 2, don't wait. Don't wait on anyone outside of you. Um, you know, we get so we get so stuck waiting for the right next step. We get we're like, well, when I have this monkey bar, I'll let go of this one, right?
Mm,
But that's not really how this works. That's how you're used to operating, because that's the system that we've grown up in. When you start operating on your intuition and synchronicity and trusting the language of the universe and your own inner voice, your own inner compass, it's going to feel scary. There's no roadmap for this. You're going to create it as you go. And you just have to trust every step. I have misstepped 1,000 times on this journey. I have made so many mistakes, but I keep going. And I have learned in those mistakes and missteps that I always have myself, and I always learn something. You put your foot somewhere. If you're waiting for the right place to put your foot, you're never going to take a step. You just have to take the step. And if you fall through the ground, you now know that you don't want to step there again. So you shift direction, right? Now you have a direction to go. And that's really the only way it's going to happen. The universe is always responding. The quantum field is always responding to the signal that you're putting out there. And so the more open and curious you get, not about connecting with
mm,
something outside of yourself, but connecting within yourself. The more curious you get about what would happen if I actually followed this nudge? What would happen if I asked the universe to send me a sign or to show me how good it can get? What if I actually listened instead of chalked it up to coincidence? What if I started assigning meaning,
Mm.
right? Because we are the ones who assign meaning. Otherwise, it's all neutral. There's no point. You can just go about your day every day experiencing the same thing if you're choosing not to see anything differently. So that's what I would say to somebody who feels stuck or just starting out on this. Just take the next step, whatever it is. And it's not going to be perfect. And there is no right step or wrong step, just step.
Yes, at that, pay attention to the detail. Pay attention, because those synchronicities, often they're popping up everywhere. We're not aware of them. I think
Hmm.
paying more attention to the things that are happening, whether they're coincidences or not.
Yes. Yes.
Everything's
Yeah.
connected.
Everything is
It's a
connected.
beautiful
And then you'll
journey.
start to see, yeah,
Yeah, looking for the magic, Master. Like, to me, that excites me more than anything is finding the magic, and a lot of the
me
magic for
too.
me is in synchronicities and things that
Hmm.
are just they don't make sense, but they happen. To me, that's
Hmm.
beautiful. But you got to be
It
open-minded.
is.
Um, you talk about passion a little bit in the book as well, which I love because that's one of my favorite subjects. What are you most passionate about right now?
That's such a good question. Right now, I am most passionate about building this connective infrastructure for what I believe will be really, it's like the banks to the river of this new wave of consciousness, this new paradigm being built on our planet. I've noticed that a lot of the people who have been coming to me for sessions and conversations are people who are building the new systems and structures on our planet, whether they be medical professionals, tech and AI executives wanting to actually build something that benefits the whole of humanity, investors, funders, people who want to do something good with their wealth to be able to help fund these initiatives, or healers who are wanting to build retreat centers, people who are building systems for clean water and agriculture. I mean, it's across the board,
Mm,
neuroscience, psychology, all of these people. So what I'm working on and founding right now is it's not a company so much as it doesn't exist yet, which is why I'm having trouble placing it. But my goal is to have this serve as the infrastructure to connect all of the people and organizations who are building the new paradigm, especially the new socioeconomic paradigm on
mm,
our planet, so that they have the resources, the funding, the
gotcha.
access, the network that they need to bring their vision to life. And this is my full-blown passion right now. So
Wow.
right now I'm in the midst of having conversations with aligned people, potential collaborators, investors, partners, to really bring this into fruition.
That would make sense. And when as you're sharing that, like your background with in the capital markets fundraising,
Hmm.
it
Yeah.
becomes a foundation to
Hmm.
do this work. That skill set
Totally.
becomes transferable. That makes absolute sense. And I've often
Yeah.
found with my own journey, speaking on stages and doing all this stuff in sales business growth, that's just the
Mhm.
apprenticeship for me. That's just me being able to get in front of people and communicate. And now I'm
Yeah.
like, what's next for me? Because I'm very much why your message resonated so much with me is because I feel like I am in a similar process
Mhm.
of radically changing identity, but
Mhm.
also using skills and capabilities that I've developed and um, invested in and learn over the years to do something next. And I don't even really know what that is. I don't know if it's a podcast. I don't know if I'm meant to be doing something completely different or not. I'm looking for the magic and the synchronicities and trying to feel my way. I really don't know. I've got no real, you know,
Mhm.
rigid outcome I'm chasing either. I'm just like, what's emerging here?
Mhm.
Because when you go through the dark night, which I have done, 2 years of it, probably still not out of it, to be honest. When you go through that process, it's like, well, sometimes you just got to let the river take you.
Yeah, you do. You're in it. I mean, it will reveal itself. It will reveal itself. I
Yeah.
think if you're ever certain about the path ahead, you're using someone else's blueprint. You're
Yeah.
not making your own.
Yes. I love the fact that this all these different industries that are popping up. See, to me,
Yeah,
I believe plant medicine is going to absolutely boom, and I've said that for like it's been
it
around forever.
will.
It's ancient.
Mhm.
It's going to become mainstream. You're familiar with the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza. We know you
Mhm.
can heal yourself. That talk about human potential. We know you can heal
Mhm.
yourself from all sorts of crazy stuff,
Yep.
but we're relying heavily on the control grid, big pharma,
Mhm.
sick, big business. So the natural remedies, that's going to boom, I think. So we're in this sort of perfect storm at the moment of all these things coming together and merging, and then brave people like yourself putting their neck out and saying, "Hey, we got to take this seriously and keep moving, come
Yeah.
together, work together,
Mhm.
because the world should be a happy place. It really should be full of love and joy, and yet
Yes.
there's the opposite for a lot of people. They're very exciting. So that's your mission at the moment, Marston.
Yep, that is my mission and my passion at the moment, and I have no idea what will come of it. I have no idea what comes next. I'm very much still on my trust fall,
You're still
and
following?
just the next
Good.
the next level of it, the next iteration. So I just know that beyond a shadow of a doubt, this is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. So I'm just going to trust how it continues to reveal itself and the people I meet along the way, and it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen, and it's not up to me how it happens. I'm
Yeah,
just the vessel for it, and it's something so much bigger than any one person.
it is happening. When is your new book coming out? Becoming the Bridge. When's that expected
Well,
to drop?
that is a great question. I actually just started writing it. So, but I wrote Trust Fall in just a few months. So I don't know how quickly this one will come through me. Um, I don't know. I can't answer that. I mean, I don't know. I feel like everything in my life is changing so much right now, and I can't even expect what's going to happen in a few weeks, let alone a few months. So I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
I would
It will come
say
when it's
if
ready.
it
When it is ready, it will come.
when it's ready, it will come.
It's ready
Exactly.
to be
Yes,
born.
I will let you
Good.
know.
Very good. How would people find out more about your work and what you're doing?
So I have all the information listed on my website, www.thebridgingcatalyst.com. It is always changing and always being updated as what we're building continues to evolve. But I still offer one on one sessions. Um, a little bit less frequently now since my focus is over here, but you can schedule with me through my website. You can learn more about what I offer. I also have a monthly community where we have monthly live calls. I do live mini readings, psychic readings and mediumship readings on those calls, and it's just a space for people to come and really just be themselves and discuss anything on their mind. Um, yeah, no one should have to go through this alone. No one should have to navigate this alone. And I've found that the community's been a great place for network growing and just, finding like-minded people. So
That is a really, really important point because the journey
yeah.
can be lonely. It can feel very isolated and lonely when you're
Mhm.
going through some sort of process where you are really stripping your identity, going through life changes or challenges. Maybe you're
Totally.
even just trying to listen and tune into the call. You know that you are meant for more. It can be very lonely. That's
Yeah.
painful in itself.
Yeah, it
It's
is. It
huge power.
is. And that's why a lot of people don't do it.
Yeah, easier to just
They're
numb.
scared. They're scared of being rejected by
Yeah,
family, friends, whatever it is, which I was. And it's not fun. But you find the people who are resonant. You find the right people in this. And I always view it too, like the people who are willing to walk away maybe aren't meant to come with you. Maybe that your chapter with them ended there. And that's
yeah.
okay. Not everyone is going to be able to come with you.
Whew, it's powerful. It's very true though. That can be a tough part of the journey for sure.
Yeah.
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 So the community, you've got your own community as well. So that's really powerful. And obviously, you're all over social media now as well. I will put
Yes.
the link to your book in the show notes, link to the website
Awesome.
in the show notes, so people can find you and learn more from you. And obviously, and watch the videos on Gaia, which is where I
Amazing.
found you as well, which
Yeah.
is mind bending stuff, which I absolutely love. And it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, Marston, and thank you so much for your time. And I've really enjoyed our chat, and it's been a pleasure.
Oh, Trent, this has been really such a joy for me. I love getting
This
to
is
have
not for the
conversations like
average with Trent
this, and I
Leishon.
really appreciate your having me on. So thank you.
Right, we'll see you soon.
All right, take care.